They never met each other. Different centuries, different worlds. But they all asked the same question. What makes us human? One dreamed of freedom under the stars. Another decoded the language of life. Some listened to the silence of the body, others to the music of the soul. One man split the sea, another split the atom of meaning. They whispered through time, and we listened. They didn't speak loudly, but the world still echoes with their voices. Every one of them carried a torch, lighting the way through darkness. The path they walked, it was not for them alone. It's now your turn to walk it. He didn't chase fame. He chased order. Johann Sebastian Bach composed not just melodies, but blueprints for divine architecture. His music was mathematics wrapped in majesty. He built cathedrals with sound and prayed with every key. In his world, every sorrow had a resolution, every silence a purpose. He taught us that time could be translated into feeling, that God could be heard. His fingers danced while his soul whispered. And in every fugue, we hear not just genius, but grace. He never saw himself as special. But centuries later, the world still leans in and listens. He boarded a ship to chart coastlines, and instead rewrote the meaning of creation. Charles Darwin didn't speak in fire or thunder. He watched, he questioned, he followed finches and fossils, and found the thread connecting every living being. In silence, he heard the roar of evolution. His ideas were met with fury by those afraid that truth might shake the heavens. But Darwin didn't chase conflict. He offered wonder, the kind that makes you whisper, "What else don't we know?" And in that question stood a man with eyes like equations and dreams forged in Russian frost. A man who saw the universe as a pattern, waiting to be solved. He saw the universe in his sleep, literally. The periodic table whispered to him in a dream, and when he awoke, he wrote order into chaos. Mendeleev wasn't just a chemist. He was a prophet of pattern. He predicted elements that hadn't been discovered, yet, as if he heard nature humming before the rest of us tuned in. They laughed, at first, but time proved him right, again and again. His gift wasn't just logic, it was intuition carved in fire. But beyond atoms and bonds was a question larger than matter. What holds the stars together when the body fails? That's when another voice entered, one powered by a machine and a mind that touched the edge of time. He lost his voice, but gained the universe. Stephen Hawking defied gravity not just in theory, but in existence. Diagnosed to fade within 2 years, he burned for decades, bright as any star. Trapped in a body that betrayed him, his mind danced through black holes, paradoxes, and infinite possibility. He made the cosmos human again, asking us not to fear its void, but to explore its echo. Every synthesized word became sacred, every blink a theorem. He made us believe that even silence could contain entire galaxies. But what if, before stars, before atoms, it all began with breath, the breath of healing, of balance, the wisdom of listening, not to space, but to the body. He touched the forehead of the sick, not as a ritual, but as a revelation. Hippocrates whispered to the body and heard answers. Before science had names, he had instincts. He believed that nature heals, and doctors simply listen. That health was harmony, and sickness a disruption in the song. His hands wrote oaths that still bind healers today, but his voice was soft. The world changed louder. In the East, another mind awakened, one that didn't dissect the body, but studied the soul of society. He didn't heal sickness. He healed culture, with silence, with structure, with 5 eternal virtues. He didn't rule empires. He refined them. Confucius walked through kingdoms on foot, teaching that peace isn't power, but posture. That honor lives in the daily choices, not grand declarations. He believed the heart and state mirrored each other. He didn't command, he questioned. Not with force, but with quiet certainty. His words outlived empires. But his greatest lesson? That meaning is found not in isolation, but in connection. The way a river joins the sea, or the way one man would later part it. A man who heard divinity not in temples, but from fire on a mountain. He was not born free, yet led millions into freedom. Moses was a man of stuttered speech and unstoppable will. He turned a shepherd's staff into a symbol of liberation. He questioned authority, split seas, and climbed into the storm. He wasn't perfect, and that's what made him powerful. He doubted, broke, forgave. He gave laws not just of punishment, but of identity. He reminded a lost people that they were chosen, that wandering wasn't failure, but formation. His fire came from within. But when his voice faded, another arose, not to lead tribes, but minds. With quill and mask, he shaped the soul of language. He never ruled, but he ruled hearts. William Shakespeare turned ink into emotion. He showed us that love could be poison, that laughter hides daggers, that even a fool can speak truth. He wrote kings but gave the power to jesters. He painted all humanity on a single stage and invited us to see ourselves. His genius wasn't in what he knew, but how he made us feel. Time, death, envy, wonder. He bent them all into verse. But when the curtain falls, who remains? Only shadows, ideas. And in those shadows, another mind stirred. One who believed that ideas are more real than flesh. He saw the world not as it was, but as it could be. Plato gave us the cave, the philosopher, the form. He believed reality was a veil, and truth a light behind it. He taught that justice wasn't a law, but a rhythm, that the soul could be shaped like a city. He questioned everything, and taught others to do the same. His student changed history. But Plato, he changed the way we define reality. And beneath his logic burned a hunger for harmony. Not in words, in sound, a music not of notes, but of essence. And through that harmony came a man, whose hands made heaven audible. He stood in front of a world teetering between fear and hope. With a voice that trembled not from weakness, but weight, John F. Kennedy asked not what your country could do, but what you could become. He dreamed of the stars while nuclear shadows crawled across the earth. He smiled in the face of pressure, and in that smile, a generation found courage. His life was a balance of charm and ticking clocks, and in one irreversible second, he was gone. A single bullet, and yet the echo still moves hearts. But courage never dies. It multiplies. The moment he left the stage, another man opened a door to a deeper mystery. A man who watched the slow dance of life not through politics, but through nature itself. They left no map, only questions, only light. Look around. The world they dreamed of is here, or it could be, but only if you listen, if you look deeper, if you ask not what they did, but why they did it. What if the next chapter isn't written by them, but by you? What if the next answer waits in your silence? What if you're already carrying a piece of their fire? The story continues in the minds that dare to remember, and those who keep the fire alive never truly vanish. The question is, will you carry it forward?